A certified life coach and soft skills trainer, her life mission in Align is empowering individuals, touching lives. The Great Mentors warmly invites Ms. Arpita Ghosh, Christ, deemed to be, University, Lavasa, Pune. She has trained not middle and senior management but also conducted sessions for school principals and teachers. Use of expressive arts makes her training module unique and experiential. A media professional prior to her life's calling of a counselor, Ms. Ghosh is an approved voice of air in DD Mumbai. A corporate filmmaker, screenplay writer for tele-serial, Ms. Arpita Ghosh has also acted in a film Mumbai Central. Her never say no attitude to do and learn gives her the title of being a poet, an author, a TEDx speaker, a solo traveler, a journalist and a spiritual seeker, which made her realize, what matters most is what remains after we drop all the labels. She has won the Excellence Award 2021 in the field of mental health well-being, an award for the Most Promising Counselor 2021 from Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She has co-authored 9 books in a span of 9 months and is still counting. She writes quotes, poems, life stories and love stories.
Hello friend, a certified life coach and soft skills trainer. Her life mission in Align is empowering individuals, touching lives. She has trained not middle and senior management, but also conducted sessions for school principals and teachers. Use of expressive arts makes her training module unique and experiential. On behalf of the great mentors, me, Sushil Sinha, warmly welcome Ms. Arpita Ghosh ma'am for today's talk show session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your valuable time and being with us. Thank a lot.
My pleasure, totally, Sushil, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. First, we would like to know about your professional journey. Please share.
My professional journey has really been very interesting for the simple reason that if you ask me what my educational qualification is, I would say I'm a master's in physical chemistry.
Okay.
And after that, it was, in our days, I'm talking about the early 80s and 90s, we just went. After the 12th, if you didn't get into medical or engineering, if you were a science student, you just pursued with your basic science. You finish off as a basic science graduate, and then you realize, okay, what next? This is not enough. So you get into doing your PG. So it was after doing my MSc that I really started thinking to myself, what is it that I want to do? Because the jobs that a chemistry graduate had, frankly speaking, I had no chemistry for those. Working in a lab, I couldn't see myself working full-time in a lab. Teaching chemistry was totally far off. The irony of life is I'm still in an educational institute. But then I said, okay, I have a flair for traveling. I like interacting with people. I think sales and marketing is what I would like to do. And I got my first break with Eureka Forbes company. But 7 months into it, and I said, no, this is not for me. And from there, I went into HCL Computers, office automation and everything. And it went on till about, I think I must have worked across the industry. So right from your home appliances, direct sales to office automation, then industrial selling with Tasty Bite Eatables, institution selling with Tasty Bite Eatables, industry selling with ITW Signode and Advani Olicon. Last was concept selling with Sterling Holiday Resorts, where I said, enough. This is not me. And I just quit and I sat back at home, but I couldn't sit at home for long. That's when I took up a stopgap job with Ask Me Services. So that was just giving information on the telephone. But that was one place where I realized the potential of my voice. Because every second caller would give me a compliment on my voice. And I said, if I've got a voice, I've got to do something about it. That's when I went on to do my certificate course in voice modulation with American, which was it, over there with Ram Singh Pawar. Dr. Ram Singh Pawar was our mentor. Then I went on to give my auditions for All India Radio. So today I'm an approved voice with All India Radio, Doordarshan. And I think I always recollect that first duty of mine at Akashvani, Mumbai studios. And sitting behind the consoles, I realized this is what I want. So then there was no looking back because from AIR was like, casual duties. I used to be doing that. I was working with DSJ Radio, that's the Lal Street Journal Radio. We were producing stock market news. I had my own radio production, Radio Gaga Productions. Along with all this freelancing radio work, I was being an approved voice. I did a lot of voiceovers for documentaries, for some ad films, got into production of ad films. Then from there, I got into production, direction, assisting in direction for teleserials. And journalism then came to me, writing, doing copywriting. I think it was my never say no attitude to anything, which just kept me moving from one to the other and exploring the entire plethora of what media had to offer. So, right from journalism till the internet boom, which came in the early 2000s, to content writing, because my last job stint was with 123india.com. So, that was how my journey moved on. But in 2005, I said, okay, I am doing a lot in media. I was also a visiting faculty for the BMM students in media, and I really enjoyed teaching them. But I knew I wanted to do something more because I understood that it's such a powerful medium, when you're connecting with the masses, you can use it constructively and positively. And I did have that ability in my communication, but I said, I've got to do something more about it. That's when I went on to do my diploma in counseling and personality development with Dr. Tushar Guha of Nrityanjali. And then I got into corporate training and totally into, like soft skill training, counseling. And then again, there was no looking back. So one thing led to another, certification in life coaching, and then the voice movement therapy, dance movement therapy. And here is where I am today. So it's been, like I said, a very interesting journey. Constant learning and the attitude to never say no.
Unending CV means if we start writing your CV, I think the number of pages we will be getting shorter. and again you have to move further, because the way you possess your energy and enthusiasm, because up till this time you have a versatile kind of professional journey, starting from as a science graduate, thereafter as a journalism in radio channels, and as a teaching profession and whatnot. And I hope some more profile will be going to be added in your coming future.
Hopefully, I am keeping my fingers crossed. I mean, I am now open for really expanding and taking my university as well as me ahead together.
Yes, it
yes.
will be.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you are yourself from a science stream, right? Thereafter,
Absolutely.
you changed your stream to the teaching, to the journalism and all. What do you think? What are the other scope for the students other than science stream? Because now nowadays every field has challenges, but at the same time opportunities as well, right? But especially in town B and town C, parents are not much aware about what are the other options other than these science streams. Can you focus on that part, please?
Definitely, sir. In fact, I mean, I am very envious of the youngsters now because I feel they have so much of an opportunity. For us, it was so very limited. But today, I mean, I feel arts, commerce, like, if you just leave science aside and you just look at arts and commerce, there is so much to do. So if you just take up simple thing like arts, we'll just first look at the art stream. Liberal arts has come up in a big way. There are many colleges and universities which are offering liberal arts. So when I'm talking about liberal arts, it's not just restricted to, sociology and psychology. In fact, when we go for career fairs now, I find a lot of inquiries coming in for psychology and economics.
Mhm.
So these two are definitely on a high right now. And like I said, when I'm talking about liberal arts, it's also about your courses in journalism, performing arts, media, fashion designing. Now, again, designing per se has also expanded. Like it's not just about fashion designing, because we are talking about design thinking, we are talking about architecture. So there is so much of opportunity, there is so much of scope for any individual. If they've got the inclination towards art, literature, history, in fact, and history is getting more and more interesting now, especially in times when we are so bound by technology. And if you look at the kind of rich history that our civilization has, or like if you're talking about ancient civilizations also, it's very interesting. And there are many people when they travel and they go to any of the historic places, be it in India or abroad, they are drawn to these fascinating places. And that's where archaeology, history, architecture, like, comes into the play. Other than that, you also have philosophy again. Then you have law. Law, again, I have seen there's a lot of transition that has happened in law, in the sense you have now 5-year integrated courses also in law. So it's not just about finishing your graduation and then going in, but you do your 12th and then you have the 5-year integrated course, like you have BA LLB, you have BBA LLB. And it's not being a lawyer in a high court, small causes court, or the Supreme Court, but it's also about working in a corporate place, because most of the banks, most of the top corporates, they have a legal division. So legal aspects, again, if you take into consideration, and especially anybody who is interested in, I would again like to thank the media for bringing in the forensic, the cybersecurity, and all these things. When they come into play, then you understand the importance of getting into law and specializing in cybercrime, or you can again look at intellectual properties. So here is where the legal aspects come in, and you can work in a corporate. You need not be working in just the court. So law, again, I find is a very interesting career for those who are interested in that. Hotel management, again, if you, and again, when we are talking about hotel management, not that you can just restrict yourself, especially with the pandemic. So 5 stars and all, like I mean, they have come down a little on business, but what has started booming is a lot of entrepreneurial skills, and people have now got into specialized cuisines, like so you look at just baking and confectionery, or you just focus on maybe the Bengali cuisine or the Maharashtrian cuisine. You have these specialty restaurants also. So hotel management, again, is another course which students can take up. Other than these, if we talk about, again, like you're getting into BCom. Now, finance, the finance industry has grown. It's not that, you take a BCom and you have company secretary job in the bank, or, you become a CA. But again, in BCom also, you can do your CA and BCom side by side. But not only that, a commerce, 12th standard commerce student can also go ahead and do banking and insurance, graduation in banking and insurance, if that is what they want to do. Even if you take BCom, you have BCom honors, you have BCom financial analytics. Now, we are living in a world, like, though I know we said we're not looking at science, but we are living in a world of technology where big data is everything. So if you look at analytics, it's all about collecting data, analyzing that, and then you go ahead with the information that you have, and what kind of a portfolio can you have. So financial portfolios are, like, again, in demand. So you look at wealth management, you look at, so finance industry has also grown, mergers, acquisitions, and the more specialized information and studies you have on these, the better it is. Like. So even if you do your graduation in commerce, but if you look at the career scope, it has tremendous amount of scope. So that is how, and then of course, nowadays we talk about management courses. So, MBA, if you really want to, you don't have to wait to again finish your graduation in any stream and then pursue MBA. But if you are interested in the managerial kind of, field, you have BMS or you have BBA. You can look at both of them as a pre-required thing. You do your graduation in that, and then you can go in for an MBA. Then, of course, if media is what interests you, you have the BMM courses, and it just goes on increasing. But I think I've tried to cover up as many possibilities other than the science stream, what arts and commerce can offer to you.
Thank you, ma'am. This is actually much needed, and especially in Group B, even in Group A town, there are parents who are very confused about the career options. So definitely it may help them to find out what are the other options other than science stream.
Sure.
They're going to through a traditional kind of thing, they can also also divert their child. Thank a lot, ma'am, for collecting all this important information.
This is what I keep doing. Like I was telling you, all these career fairs, and now is the season. So this information is already there, like.
Right.
So that's how.
Very much required. Actually, it is.
Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. You also focus much on mental health. How does this mental health impact students?
Okay, now mental health has become a cause for concern in the recent times. Pandemic times has just added on to it, but even prior to the pandemic times, it affects the students' academic performance, it affects their social interactions. So I think it's very important to understand what really is this mental health all about, because each individual and for all of us, it's always been the focus has been on maintaining our physical well-being. But today, where I stand from my own experience, from all the research and study that I have done, I have realized that physical health is nothing but a reflection of our mental and emotional well-being. We need to first handle our mental and emotional stress. And today, the way we have grown, it's a simple example. I always recollect Pujya Swami Dayanand Saraswati, he had once said that we come, we are so rich in our heritage culture that we used to come from joint families. And in joint families, what would happen if a child was, shouted at? The child would go to the grandparents or Tauji, Mamaji, whoever was there, and they would actually validate their feelings, like, Ki beta kya hua, why are you crying? And so sit them down on the lap and they would talk. But now we don't have those grandparents and Tauji, Mamajis. We are a nuclear family. Moreover, there is no vacant lap also because it's been taken up by the laptop. So somewhere during the growing years, we are now lacking the right kind of platform for us to express ourselves. And with the result, as we grow up, teenagers have their own issues. So as they keep growing up, it's all building up within. So there's a lot of pent up frustration, there's a lot of pent up anger, and being confined. I do understand that, yes, both parents need to work to give their child the best. But this has also led to some of the children who are so used to being on their own that they don't like too much of social interaction. So the moment when it comes to any kind of social interaction, then they get into this thing of social anxiety. It starts bothering them, they don't want to be a part of any social gathering. So the most commonly mental health issues that I am seeing amongst the youngsters is social anxiety in general, I mean, I never knew anything about panic attacks or anxiety or anything like that during, not just me, but I think even amongst our friends. None of us ever got into that, like, But today's youngsters, they feel lonely. They get bored very easily. And these are all nothing but, like, I mean, just the beginnings of the mental health issues which tend to come up, if not tackled in the right way right now. So that is where we are, and it is very important to look into it because mood swings, yes, we do all. There are times when we feel very good about things, there are times when we don't feel very good about things. But social media, again, has started interfering in how we feel. A simple thing like, I mean, I have one youngster who always has this thing of how many likes I have got. The moment a post is up on Insta, there's a reel of theirs, like, there on Facebook, and constantly checking. And what are they constantly checking? Who has liked, who has commented? And now, of course, YouTube has also come onto it. So if they're not getting the required validation from out, that also affects. So which means that basically our self-esteem is low, and that starts affecting on how we feel about ourselves. And obviously, if I'm not going to feel good about myself, I'm not going to feel good about anything else around me. So that's what makes me feel low. And then I don't even know who to go and talk to, because there is this kind of taboo that is there. If I am going to the counselor, or no, I don't need therapy, those kind of things are there. But it's something as simple as just being open and honest, and telling somebody, today I'm not feeling good about myself because, like, I have a youngster who got a pimple on the face, and I'm not feeling good because I got this pimple. So I said, okay, I mean, how is that pimple affecting you? So these are, like, things, do we really have to get affected by it? But that is what we are getting affected by. Probably again because of the consumerism that has come in to the market, which constantly reminds us that we need to look good, we need to eat healthy, we need to look a particular way, we need to think a particular way, we need all these trainings, we need. So somewhere that has started affecting us, and we start wondering, am I incomplete? Am I inadequate? Am I incapable? And all that starts impacting our mental health. I can really go on this.
It's a limitless topic. But ma'am, it is very much required, because the way children are getting isolated in nuclear family in most of the, especially in big towns. Both of the parents, they are working, and I have already observed that many of the students in even in their tender age, early childhood, when they are in class of third or fourth, they used to be at home alone. Their parents, they used to lock them inside, and they used to go for their job. So such type of isolation is definitely, it is going to impact mental health of the children. So what are the options for that? How can, what are the remedies? It's very difficult to find, I think.
Yes. The remedies are like, I mean, to basically the whole thing is, about understanding. First thing is we need to accept, like, accept the situation, accept the fact that, yes, there's something wrong with the way I think about myself. We need to work with our own belief system, because what is it that I believe about myself? Most often we are, again, it just comes down to constantly seeking validation from outside. And the more I keep seeking validation from outside, the more miserable I become.
Right.
So, in fact, if you like, I mean, I would like to quote from the Gita, because Krishna tells Arjun that lift yourself by yourself. And I think all of us are also aware of the saying which says, God helps those who help themselves. So even though we have counselors, we have therapists, mental health workers, we are all doing our level best to create a lot of awareness. But at the end of the day, every individual has to first accept that, okay, I need to do a lot of self work. I need to develop myself. It's all there within me. So once that acknowledgement and acceptance comes, it becomes a lot more easier. Because I have many people who come to me and repeatedly. So first time, of course, hear them out. Second time, third time, and then by the fourth or fifth time, I realize all what that person wants to do is keep wallowing in their own self pity because it's a kind of comfort zone they've created for themselves. They just need to come, vomit it out, and then go back, and then use it again as an excuse for. So they are totally stuck. Whereas there are some people who, when you actually tell them that, look, this is what we need to begin with. So, I mean, this takes us to, equipping ourselves with the basic life skills, that is understanding the self. And again, if you look at our Eastern philosophy, that's what it talks about. The more we understand ourselves, the better we are in our position to deal with people around. So it's all about self awareness. How aware am I of my way of thinking? How aware am I of the thoughts that keep coming up? How aware am I of the behavior patterns that I show? Am I aware of what really triggers me? Am I reacting to situations? Am I responding? My tone, in which tone am I speaking? So that is what helps me. The more awareness I bring in towards myself, my body sensations. Like, when they come and say, I am feeling low, I'm feeling anxiety. So my next question is, okay, so can you tell me, how is your body responding? So we are not even in touch with, how we are feeling at this moment of time. We don't even understand what we are feeling. And if you go to see the connection, the heart and the mind is very simple. Heart is where we feel from. And if you've noticed, sometimes it is a thoughts. If I have happy thoughts, I will feel happy here. But if I have sad thoughts, obviously I'm going to start feeling sad. I'm going to feel low. So it's all about change your thoughts and you can change your feeling. So it's within a snap that we can do it. But again, we have to equip our individuals in that way. Now, if we look at the pandemic times, right since this, it's now almost going to be 2 years, 3 months short of that. But what has the pandemic really taught us? It has taught us to accept the situation. It has taught us to build our resilience. And the more we are able to build our resilience, that much more we will be able to contribute to our own self growth and to the growth of the organization we are working in. But resilience is something which we need to build. So if you look at coping mechanisms, somewhere our youngsters need to be trained into building those coping mechanisms. Because with this entire pandemic times, the fear of uncertainty has gripped all of us. Fear of uncertainty, fear of loss, loss of the near and dear ones, then fear of failure, because and everything is so short span. You don't know what's going to change next. Today, much as we keep discussing about a whole lot of, career opportunities, but frankly speaking, given the times we are in, we don't know the changes that are going to be coming up in the jobs that are going to be available for us. But we, as youngsters, have to be equipped enough to know how to change, no matter what, because technology, again, if you see, we are living in a world of technology. Technology keeps changing and we need to keep upgrading. So if we have to match up with the technology we are using, we've got to upgrade ourselves. So for that, we've got to be quick. And which means our attention span. Because you look at the attention span of our youngsters, students, actually, it is so short span. They're doing something and then the very next moment, okay, they're done and over with it. They want to move on to next. So it doesn't happen that way. So these are some of the things that, and of course, communication skills. I find that communication skills are really becoming very poor. Language skills are not enough, not just the language skills, but even the way, like, expressing oneself. Maybe because, again, thanks to technology, to a certain extent, using WhatsApp and Messenger and everything, we use the we use the emoticons. But if I have to really express myself, I just don't find the right words to express myself. So when I'm not able to express myself to a person who's sitting across the table, obviously I'm not able to strike a chord, I'm not able to develop a bond. And that's why more and more we are getting into isolation. And that's why the social anxiety is also coming in. So I think these are some of the areas we really need to work on.
Really, ma'am, power of subconscious, that is very much important.
Absolutely. That is very much required. And when we understand, what really, like I said, everything is here within. And the subconscious, like we said, it stores about 90% of, it's a treasure house of information that you have within. So 90% of all the information is right here within. 10% is what we acquire from out. So once we can tap into that, I think we can really, and which is why mindfulness, again, if we get into the habit of awareness and even 10 minutes of meditation every day. And when I say meditation, nothing hi-fi, but just a simple thing of sitting quietly in a place, be it in open nature, be it in our own sacred space, but just focusing on the breath and counting back numbers from 100 to 0 can help us develop a concentration also and calm the mind and put us in a better frame of mind.
Thank you, ma'am, for going in such a deep way. You also focus on life skill.
I was actually talking about life skills,
it's also a part of your specialization, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you elaborate on that part also, please?
Yeah. So, like I said, one part of life skills is all about, having good communication skills, because here is where we need to develop our interpersonal skills. When I talk about interpersonal skills, it's basically developing our people skills. Because at the end of the day, no man is an island. We are all relating to each other. And again, today, because of technology, we have broken all geographical barriers. So we are connecting with people locally as well as globally. And the more we are connecting with every human being across the globe, that much more strong we need to be in our communication skills. So when I talk about communication skills, it's also about being assertive, having the clarity of what I want, what I don't want. And as we understand communication skills, again, it's about working on our body language, working on the tone of our voice. How are we using the tone? And like I said, language skills, we sometimes don't have the right words. It's also about decision making. And I find decision making, again, here is where, you have a combination of not just decision making, but again, not asserting what we want. I find a group of youngsters who will go probably to a ice cream shop, ice cream parlor, and then it is each one is asking the other, okay, what you having, what you having, and then there is this one person who will just go along with anything, and at the end of it, like they will say, oh, I don't really like this chocolate ice cream yet. You had an opportunity to express and say that I don't want a chocolate ice cream. I mean, I want a strawberry or whichever one, but we don't use that. We just go along with whatever the herd mentality, I mean, that I call it, but there is no need to get into that. So it's all about expressing yourself, and it also shows, reflects the decision making power. I have the power to decide what I want, but yet I choose not to. I allow somebody else to make the decision. And then I also say, so here is where I understand that sometimes when we delve deeper into it, probing further, it stems from a simple thing. If I take a decision, I am responsible for the consequences. But the moment I allow somebody else to take the decision, it's very easy for me to pass the buck and say, you're at fault, it's not me, because you took the decision for me. And that is where, again, I feel it's an important aspect of life skills because we are coping with our lives. It's all about my life. Today, if I don't stand up and for myself and take a decision, I will never be able to be a success. I mean, like I was just sharing my entire professional journey with you. But let me tell you, I come from a family of academicians. My dad was a university professor, my mom was a school teacher. And I know when I got into media, the major frictions that I had with them. Because for them, it was like, I mean, ladki media mein chali gayi. In 90s and all, media was all about glamour and late night coming and all. So my mom was very, very upset with me. But I stood my ground because I believed in myself. I believed in my uh, my passion, my decision. I stood by it. And yes, finally, I mean, when my articles would be published, or when I was there on radio, or if my name had to show up on the television screen, I did overhear my dad, say with pride, that's my daughter. So I said, finally, you're so happy about it. But yet, at that particular moment of time, so I mean, we will have these moments, but it's all about believing in yourself. And that takes a lot of confidence, a lot of courage, and the ability to decide for oneself. So, decision making, again, is an important aspect of life skills. And it's also about the ability of problem solving. I mean, there may be simple things like, I mean, today we give kids like all these puzzles and everything is there. But when you actually use your hands and do those puzzles, it's very different. It's more experiential rather than doing it on the mobile phone. And that again has become a kind of a gap because we are not able to look at the solution in a very objective way. Because when you're actually using your hands and solving that puzzle, you're actually getting a different view of it, an overview of it, because that's the way we look at problem. We don't get in the middle of the problem to, see how to find the solution. You take a step back outside and then you look at how to solve the problem. So problem solving, creative thinking. आज की तारीख में, I think imagination, creativity has gone out of the window. For the simple reason, even if a child is like, sitting and doing nothing, so that is when, you allow the mind to be free and imagination to run wild, creative thoughts to come, but the child will say, I'm getting bored. And the next thing you know, they pick up the mobile and they are browsing, or it's the remote control and they're browsing the channels. Whereas I mean, I still recollect my days when I would just love looking at the different shapes of the clouds, imagining, different images. There was so much that used to happen. So creative thinking, again, is another important life skill that we need to get into and help our children, our students to develop it further, because the way we are looking at the kind of skills that are required even for employability today, creativity, innovation are some of the top skills that we are looking at. Emotional intelligence, another important aspect of life skill. Unless we don't understand our emotions, and like I said, using emoticons is very easy, but actually placing your hand on your heart and saying, I'm feeling a little annoyed, I'm feeling a little sad, I'm feeling happy, it's different to actually be aware. And when I do my creative writing workshops, I always tell my participants to be a good writer you need to be in touch with your emotions. So we have one separate exercise where we actually get in touch with the emotions, understand each emotion, and then we start writing on it. So that is where emotional intelligence comes in, where we have to know seat of emotions. Here is the intelligence, what we speak, because here is where emotions and intelligence meets, and what comes out is coming out from that sure understanding of how do I intelligently handle my emotions. So yeah, these are some of the life skills. And like I said, all these things one can just go on talking about, so there's no end to it.
Really, ma'am, you have observed the thing and maintained the things in a very deep and minute way. Your observation is really in the deepest part of the practical life, and really such type of thing happens. And sometimes it may be a hindrance for creativity. These are really interesting point and need to be focused. Of course, if even if a child said some for some time, they started saying, "Oh, getting bored," and they started playing with the digital devices and all. They always need one or another kind of something which is entertaining to them.
True. Very
Yes.
true.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Been a pleasure, sir.
Giving
I mean,
us
it was long awaited, but yes.
such a beautiful time, and really these points are unique, and in terms of career option, it is very much needed and it is very much required. We will try our best to reach it out as much as to as much as maximum population
Sure.
which are actually needy.
Definitely. And at any time, we can just do only career specific talks also. I'll be very happy to
Sure,
reach
we
out
will
to
do
any
that.
specific target audience if you want me to. Please let me know.
Sure, ma'am. We
Definitely.
will try our best. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank a lot
Thank,
for being with us.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.